The 233 edition of the El Clasico football game, the second leg between Real Madrid and Barcelona in 2018 La Liga season, witnessed a fiery and a series of intense, exciting, dynamic, and of course dramatic storyline that on the night share that pure vision of most classic football game that the world could have enjoyed, and of course the one that historically was considered and defined as the most gifted global rivalry. But the both teams' performance on the night was mainly influenced by a string of distinguishable vision that divided and united both to challenge this opportunity. While Barcelona were already crowned and confirmed as the 2018 La Liga champions, and Real Madrid have been struggling, and ultimately their campaign were hit by a fraction of struggling performances, and they're being knocked out of the title weeks ago, while they brilliantly are on the verge of creating an unprecedented history and beautiful chapter of the European dominance when they book their passage to third consecutive Champions final and have their eye to win the prize on May 26th when they face Liverpool. This game really appear to define a brilliant opportunity for both teams to win that game. However, their intention in pursuit of achieving such an amazing record was truly identified on quite a sharp contrast based on the category and the strategical momentum both teams appear, and of course through their ultimately critical campaign and level of competitiveness they experience to be considered this season, and of course the strengths and weaknesses both appear to enjoy and through their roller coaster season in a different perspective really have shaped the direction of this game to be a completely unique perspective compared to the past. And of course for Real Madrid it was nothing enjoyable more than spoiling Barcelona's championship celebration at home soil, and for Barca of course not only beating their historic rival was always a pleasure, but they further intended to maintain a brilliant record that they have managed to serve this season, and they could have ended up being an only team in the history of La Liga to win the campaign without losing a single game, as their brilliant unbeaten streak record up to this point served them up as the most gifted and accomplished team in order to achieve that record. And of course, the two different intentions and strategical perspective by both teams only was shared to play a beautiful football, and at the end fans enjoy that brilliant form of the football brand and a classic rivalry. However, the game was in many ways on a negative note, influenced and was hit by a series of the wrong refereeing decision, controversial refereeing decision, growing rise of emotional conflict, and ultimately struggling psychological battles between the players of both teams that on both of the spectrum have split the vision of this game's classic narrative. But on the night, Ronaldo and Messi both inspired their teams through their individual brilliance, and of course the major evidence of the game-changing scenario, the shift of tactical balance and the consistent application of the intense effort by both teams really seem to define the flow of the game from beginning to the end, and the result has apparently set to show a fair extent, but arguably there could have been a split and more complicated opinions about the more deserved team who could have really end up winning the game. On the night that many believe Real Madrid was a better team, also faced Barcelona with an incredible opportunity to serve the game plan in the most simplified game. However, at the end, it was seemingly a fair result to some extent that satisfied both teams, and quite a win in sharp contrast to previous occasions. It was a game that both teams just intended to win based on the scenario and the momentum they have carried this season, but in the pursuit of that achievement, they have shown really a special character. Gareth Bale perhaps has left his mark in this game, and his brilliant in-swing thunderbolt that really equalized Real Madrid's second goal when they were trailing 2-1 was a glimpse of individual brilliance and a masterpiece brace that possibly would have indicated a fierce effort that player had to put themselves on the track to pursue some returning point to Real Madrid's squad after experiencing a frustrating season when he most of the time contributed to play as a sub, and his brilliant goal on the night technically could have changed that perspective, and it might give that vital momentum changing scenario for the Welshman. Messi's masterpiece and glimpse of flash of creativity was once again pivotal when he scored Barca's second, and they took the lead through his dazzling and dribbling skills, and when he was combined by Luis Suarez brave run down on the right hand side, and after hooked the ball to his left as usual, he maintained his composed, skillful and pure touch and instinct to dribble inside of two Real Madrid centre half, Rafael Varane and Sergio Ramos, before sending a curling left-footed shot. However, the first goal that Barcelona scored was the result of their fine possession rhythm that quickly broke Real Madrid into the midfield, and while Zinedine Zidane's men attempted to provide mobility and intense pressing to limit Barca's passing movement, it did not really set well for them in the beginning, and Barca instead of 10 minutes scored the opener. A tiny exchange of play, a short play by Sergio Roberto was combined by Messi before he superbly interacted a short play pass into the central position in the midfield with Coutinho and the Brazilians excellent switching the position, that some of the combination to open space for Sergio Roberto to burst high on the right flank with plenty of spaces, and he was simply managed by pushing high, accelerating into the exploited gap. His perfectly accurate cross over the far post allowed Luis Suarez to brace and smash a brilliant low-range half volley into the near post. Barcelona took the lead. However, it seemed that Real Madrid eventually settled into the game. They dictated the pace of the game through their mobility off the ball, the quick winning, the initiation of the pressing, and quick and speedy passing interaction and igniting the combination play from midfield to wide areas that allow the rhythm of this dynamic transition on both of the spectrum to set Real Madrid pushing Barca deep into their own half, and the fact their ability to provide such a task soon disjointed Barca's midfield, exploited the gap behind them, and the quick change of attacking tempo, and fine positional interaction between Real midfield offered them a space to press Barca high up the pitch, and in the way give them a momentum to supervise constant short passing movement, a change of attacking positions across the midfield, and of course finding that edge of penetration as much they had. And Barca have been gradually lacked that intensity and composed pressing task to limit Real Madrid. On one of the next occasions, Luka Modric appeared to rob the ball off Sergio Busquets in midfield after he retained the ball, turned around and perfectly sliced a deep ball for Ronaldo to go through. And when he was one-on-one with Ter Stegen, his effort was saved excellently by the German goalkeeper. Once again, the flawless short passing with a change of attacking positions allow Real Madrid to win the game from midfield and quickly pushing high up the pitch with crafty combination, and left Barca struggling to contain Real Madrid's energetic transition game. Another brilliant pass from Toni Kroos when he pushed high and neatly exchanged run with Casemiro allowed the German to pick up Ronaldo with another through pass, and the Portuguese hooked the ball to his left, but his effort went wide of the post. And it was the case that Real Madrid pressed Barca high up the pitch. They sustained their constant change of the pace and off the ball mobility, while Barca struggled to supervise the passing build up, and they constantly struggle to win and track spaces into the midfield, which mostly left Messi and Suarez away from the initial passing. That was the story for the first half, as Real Madrid really looked to be more comfortable gaining the ball, igniting crafty positions, and while they sustained their pressing task, the quick change of attacking tempo also dismantled Barca's position.